Q&A if you want to ask, she'll be answered. And then after Kun Helen, Dr. Harin will show us a few more examples and core idea of how we would be succeed on developing smart city in the future. And after that, we will a group discussion, just exchange some idea. And then after that, after group discussion, the head of the department, the secretariat, want you to go to their new museum on the the museum about the vinyl old music, because this is public relation department of Thailand. They accumulate for like more than almost 100 years. So just a little bit walk across the street, and that's all. And then we go on tour for the RE tour around. Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Hi everyone. Thank you for thanks for having me. Thanks so much for all of you coming here and being able to present your ideas and laying the foundation for more, because this is actually why I'm here. It's not what we have already done. This is nothing about results. This is about process, and this is about what we can maybe do in the future together. And I know all of you, or some of you, I have met online on Zoom calls, and sometimes it's actually not so easy to build up something via a Zoom call. So this is why we actually came up with the idea of a preparation visit to Bangkok. And as I will talk about more further in my presentation, we have been working actually towards this throughout the last 2 years. But due to COVID and due to the pandemic, this was exactly the moment when our project started. We had quite a delay, and as you can see, what I'm actually focusing on is that we actually had a project in Jakarta. So this is why this can maybe be some kind of inspirational thoughts that I present here, and everything that I say is possibly important for future collaborations with Bangkok stakeholders later on. Okay, so smart cities in Europe, they all have a very individual approach. And the recent one in Berlin just started in 2020. Before that, the business approach, the cluster funding for smart city investments and smart city tech was the focus. But now the city decided to have a completely different turn on the smart city approach. So we have currently the running project in the smart city is 6 years long, and we are currently in the process of setting up a strategy for smart city. And as you can see, 2 years setting up a strategy is quite long. But the aim here is that we have a very participatory approach with all citizens and engage the most stakeholders as possible, which has never been done before in a policy of the Senate of Berlin. And then after that, in the implementation phase, we focus on pilot projects that are concerning smart water management, for instance, or data governance, also spatial planning, squares, leisure time facilities, but also crisis-proof communication, catastrophe, resilient cities. For us, smart city also means resilience in citizens. Next, please. So as I heard all of you talking before, a lot of things that we are doing currently in Berlin matches what your ambitions are. That it's actually not about technology-driven ideas, but it's about the people and what they actually need. That the decision-making will follow the public interest, and the technology supports and the integrated and inclusive urban development. So it's all about actually having some strategy documents that are not, what was the term, NOPA, but that are actually made for implementation. And this is actually the potential that we see in the collaboration with Bangkok, that this kind of smart city model that we are currently developing is something that you may be interested in, and also can learn, and also we can learn from your ambitions here in Bangkok. Next one. So this is quite complex. This is the process that we are currently undergoing. You can see that we, in the strategy setting up, we have different groups of society. This is the public society. There's a lottery in Berlin. There was a lottery where all people that are registered in the city of Berlin were in a lottery to be selected to be part of the participation of the committee that is involved in engaging with public officials for the new smart city strategy. So we really wanted to ensure equality and inclusion here, and also representativeness. And at the same time, and this is something that we shouldn't forget, is that the public administrators, the public officials, I'm a public official, that a lot of them in the administration body, they are also overwhelmed by technology. They are also overwhelmed by the new tasks, the service orientation that we have to comply with. And this is why there's also another group of very simple middle management administrators that have also to comment and get feedback on the smart city strategy. And then what follows is that those committees of different urban stakeholders in Berlin are developing one strategy together. And there are a lot of meetings that are structured, and the results from one group will be evaluated by another group. So what the citizens say is especially the prioritization of smart city projects. The administration has then the reality check, so saying what is going on, what is not going on. And then we have the researchers that are putting the knowledge, the new knowledge, into this process. So we're using all the strength of each and every stakeholder group of one city to develop within 2 years, to develop a strategy together. This takes a long time, but then we have the accountability, then we have the people and everyone on our side to really move forward. Okay. So, I mean, I also included some information about Berlin. Here we have some, as you said, a lot of potential for new urban planning projects that we would like, we can offer to Bangkok to speak more about and to learn for you. Can you just move forward? For instance, as maybe some of you know, we had an airport area very close to the city center, 10 minutes from the next city center connection, which is now turned into a completely new district. And it's historically protected. Yes, you can see the building will never change the characteristic airport design. And at the same time, this is going to be an integrated, a management model for integrated urban planning, and a lot of sustainable building systems that are going to be implemented. As you can see, everything should be having like a holistic approach here concerning energy, construction, friendly mobility, recycling, etc., etc. So this is something that we would also like to present to Bangkok further, and to see where collaborations for new innovation districts with a bit of historical structure is possible to exchange for. Okay, next one. Then this was the new kind of innovation districts that Berlin is currently developing. This is a retrofitting project. The Siemensstadt. Siemens, you know, Siemens comes from Berlin actually, but moved the headquarters to Munich due to the Second World War effect. And this area is actually where Siemens grew before the Second World War. And this very neglected part of Berlin, it's kind of a suburban vibe to it, is now turned into a new innovation district with a lot of research institutes and new companies. And they really want to to have a very green, livable district development in here as well. So this is another site I think would be interested for you to learn more about. Regarding participation and smart collaboration, the Smart City of Berlin is also financing a city lab, for especially the exchange with urban stakeholders, citizens, and calling this an experimental laboratory for the city. And here the academia plays in a particular important role, because in Berlin the universities are very strong in supporting startups and also the transfer of new innovative ideas. And this is connected here with the public officials and the larger corporates. Okay, right. Yeah, and as you can see, there's one good website where you can find a lot of smart city projects that are enlisted together. And yeah, so this is something that I would like to give you for the further discussions. But now turning maybe away from the general Berlin perspective towards the current Smart Change project, which I'm actually here with. Can you to the next page? And then, so I'm actually here because of a project called Smart Change. And this project is actually built on a sister city partnership with Jakarta. In the ambitious planning of this project 3 years ago, there was also the aim of establishing a trilateral cooperation with Bangkok. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, this effort had to be postponed, and we used the last 2 years in a very remote and digital way to make this project still happen. And this project is much about good governance, what Danny, my colleague, already told you about. It's about addressing the Sustainable Development Goals 11 for communities and cities, and focusing especially on the linkage between smartness and sustainability. It's funded not by Germany, it's funded by the European Union. So we have a very broad international interest here behind us. And the very important goal with our project is that we try to make it as sustainable as possible in the way of long-term implementation. So everything that we do has to have a very strong structural link for the city of Jakarta. Meaning, what this actually means, I will briefly tell you about. And currently, the project also encompasses delegation visits. And these delegation visits are particularly important for future collaboration with Bangkok, because there will be a visit from Berlin to Bangkok, now planned for November, where we can really do these kind of design thinking workshops together with you, if you're interested, in order to establish future collaborations with the experts from Berlin and also Jakarta. Okay, next one. So we're actually having, as Danny said, 2 different pillars. These are the pillars that he actually meant. One is concerning governance capacities, because it's not only about good ideas and businesses, but it's also about the local authority, that they actually can embrace those ideas, that they know what to do, that they have the governance at hand to know how to implement those ideas. And the other one is the urban entrepreneurial ecosystem that needs improvement, meaning that startups, entrepreneurs, especially in Jakarta, faced difficulties in communicating with the public agencies, with setting up their business, closing their business. All the process for startups and businesses had to be developed, or had to be supported by a new policy strategy that we are currently developing for them. So for instance, one part of the governance capacities that we are doing is that we have established a multi-stakeholder dialogue, meaning that every month the citizens of Jakarta are invited to talk about one specific challenge in Jakarta, meaning, for instance, air pollution. And experts for air pollution are invited to talk about the real causes of air pollution. And then there is they develop some ideas for pilot initiatives that can be drafted out within these dialogues. So it's not about only communicating and seeing the local authorities, but it's also about moving one step further, really giving them the chance to be part of city policy in Jakarta. And in the end of 2022, we will have 15 pilot initiatives drafted that are really only set up by a bottom-up approach. Okay, so this is actually what we started with. This is an assessment that I did. So this is actually the structure of Jakarta's ideas of smart city, with the very known indicators like smart governance, smart people, smart economy, that you also use here in Bangkok, but more focusing on the governance aspects of those smart city indicators, because smart governance is not only one particular pillar here or like a silo, but it's actually cross-cutting all different aspects of smart mobility, smart economy, and smart environment, for instance. And those smart city governance, something that we assessed in the beginning of our project, what is actually possible, what we can do, what kind of topics and agenda we have to analyze for further pilot initiatives. You make one more. And in those multi-stakeholder dialogues, what happened now is that after this first assessment of potential challenges, the citizens and the companies, they chose specific challenges that they actually want to discuss about. And this is what came out. These are the pilot initiative names or topics that were developed alongside this dialogue. For instance, regarding smart economy, the stakeholders in Jakarta said that a lot of problems is that small businesses actually do not know about digital learning skills. This is something that they actually are not empowered for. I mean, they can maybe use an app or an app service, but actually understanding digitalization and digital aspects of their businesses is something that they need support from the city. This is one example. Or that actually young people are neglected in city policy, that they actually have no space and no voice to speak up, and that they actually need a special facility to communicate with Jakarta. So this is what happened now. This is progress. Yeah, this is the progress that we are currently doing. It's not all ready yet, but the good thing about our Smart Change project is that we have KPIs to draft new projects. That what a lot of times happens is that you are so stuck in your project and your deliverables, but our deliverables is that we design new projects. So this is actually very supportive for this pandemic time, yeah? So because we are also focusing on dialogue and getting people together for future collaboration. So yeah, this is what I talked about, that we have delegation visits coming also to Bangkok, one to Berlin, one to Jakarta. Maybe you know that the U20 summit is taking place in Jakarta this year, so the G20 summit will take place in November, but the capitals of the 20 biggest countries, economic-wise, will also meet in Jakarta, and this is where we also will plan our delegation visit from Bangkok to Jakarta, from Berlin to Jakarta. And this is actually where we also try to involve with the ecosystem, with you guys, and to make further collaboration possible. You can just skim through the next slides. There is so much more I can tell you about. I can also share the slides, but maybe we do not have so much time here. Maybe there's one more if you go further, and I say stop. Yeah, this maybe. But we are also planning, and I had a talk with Bangkok Metropolitan Administration on Thursday. They're really interested in some physical projects here. In Jakarta, we are currently building an innovation hub where startups and businesses should be enabled to have better communication with public authorities. And I don't mean on a high level, but on the working level, that actually public officials that are dealing with mobility infrastructure get a good and safe, neutral platform, a transparent platform to communicate with businesses and build up the trust that is needed for new ideas and implementation. Because what happens now in Jakarta, and maybe you can tell me about Bangkok, is that there's actually not much information that is shared with everyone, and that it's actually not a very competitive field, but a lot of ideas are hidden and a lot of people do not know what's going on. So this is something that they were interested in, and we are also using this hub as a place for European collaboration. So if anyone coming from Europe to Jakarta or wants to come from Jakarta to the European market, they can also use this kind of hub as a first knowledge base. Okay. So there have been also future city accelerators planned. I don't want to get too deep in that, but these are very, as you can see, the Smart Change project is actually a portfolio of different projects where we actually embrace ways to support startups and entrepreneurial ecosystems from different angles, and at the same time not forgetting the capacity building on the city administration level. Because for us, this goes hand in hand. Yeah, I think I'm gonna close here. If you want to have further information, I do not want to get through every slide, but I think this was a good first inspiration. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'm open for questions.
Maybe I just one short question
sure.
as well as maybe how is this affect the current structure of the local administrative structure, government, something like that? How would you?
In Jakarta, you mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Jakarta has decided in 2015 to set up a smart city unit. So this smart city unit is part of the Department for Information and Knowledge and Communication, and statistics, so very IT-based idea of smart city, which is completely different to the position of Berlin, yeah, so, and also maybe to your position. And what they established is kind of a city control center. So they have a superficial center, to say, to the current moment, where they collect data from different departments. They want to be kind of the center, the data hub for the local administration. However, they are very interested in exploring the kind of alternative way to rethink smart city in the way that it's actually about collaboration, facilities and platforms with citizens, with businesses. And this is something that they will try to work with us together. This is not the usual way of processes in Jakarta, but I'm very surprised how open they are to new ideas and to have a more participatory approach regarding this. And as someone said, I think our DEPA official, that smart city is a tool and not a goal. And this is something that they are more and more embracing in the interaction with us, so that we actually can support this kind of vision. Yeah. Any other question? Yeah.
Hi, yes, I just have a quick question regarding the Smart City Accelerator program, because we have tried to do that, and we want to learn from you how you did it better, because we failed miserably in that program. What we were trying to do is that we believe that once we get the cities to pin down their ideas, we believe that the task is 50% done. I mean, that's the kind of cliche we hear all the time, right? If you can write down your plans, half of the tasks are already done. But that's not the case. It's like 5% done. Just because they can write down a problem doesn't mean they get the solution. So I just kind of wanted to know what is the mechanisms that you use in order to run the projects, and how have it been, and are there points that we can learn from each other? Thank you.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because for the Jakarta departments, and actually, to be honest, I think also for Berlin departments, it's still a very young model or a very unexperienced model of collaboration, this kind of smart governance accelerator. It's based on, as you said, first time focus group discussions within the departments internally to assess the challenges that they actually want to have and to get support, external support, and to be open and also define the openness of this process. Because if it was only external expertise, they could have a normal consultant. They don't need a learning team, they don't need a training facility, they don't need a body like another city government behind that. So this is what they have to learn first, and they need time to learn that, and to have also good practices, maybe also some abstract practices, that or abstract examples, to make them rethink what we actually want to achieve here. And these are challenges that, and one important aspect of that is that the assessment needs to exclude challenges where actually services are already provided. Yeah, so it must be something that they actually cannot see any solution on the market. And this is a crucial point, because usually you always, so usually you find a solution that is already somewhere in the market. And if they see that they do not know why they need this kind of ideation process, this kind of long-term or maybe half-year collaboration. So the assessment of the right challenges is what is important here. And then they have to sign an MOU and a non-disclosure agreement, because what we experience in Jakarta is that they're very sensitive of giving away data to the outside. So any partner that wants to be part of this accelerator, they have to be able to treat data with confidential manners. And this is something built on trust. This is something that both parties have to be prepared for. And where the city, what we're experiencing now, sometimes is a bit distancing still. So they actually needed more time to know how to interact with those kind of innovation teams. This is the key. And then after that, what is very important, what actually our role is too, that we are the ones that they can trust to observe this as a neutral client or agent, you can say not client, but neutral agent, which steps in if there is a conflict, or if there's no interaction anymore. Because sometimes it happens that the right data is not provided and the startup or the innovation team cannot move forward. They're just stuck. And the city says oh, I cannot, we're not able to provide that data, but actually, yeah, you are. So we are trying to always focus on the goal, what they actually want to achieve in the end, and try to proactively convince them to make this collaboration happen. And this is this demands a lot of effort, that's true. And then what's also important in the end, after this acceleration process, is that right away funding organizations or alternative funding to accelerate and to increase the solution are identified right away. So without any long wait of maybe 2 or 3 months, this is sometimes already too late. So the moment that they know actually this could work, they say it's actually realistic to do that, they right away need funding bodies and funding opportunities. And this is why we also collaborate with the GIZ in Indonesia, and they help us a lot to make it possible to have that kind of funding behind. But sometimes some of the solutions may also need the ADB, Asian Development Bank, for instance, or other actors like the World Bank to assess further. So yeah, I think it's more complex than one would think to make it really work and to make it successful, and not to have only another consultant contract. Yeah, so it makes it more flexible, but also more to work on. Okay, I hope this answered your question.
Yes, certainly. I just want to share with you quickly what we did here, what we have been doing here in Thailand is that exactly what you said. Smart governance isn't all about using templates from one place and put it on the other one. It's the idea of going out there to the localities and trying to understand from the perspective of those living within the communities and see what are the pain points, what are the resources that they have, and kind of build on that. Because, and as we agree upon that smart city is a tool and not a mindset, not even a paradigm, because if you think of it as a paradigm, then you have to kind of go upward mobility to that level of shift, and that's not always useful, because not every city has to be smart cities. They can also be a smart rural town. They can be a smart small communities where everybody know each other and support each other. Not every places need to be smarter cities, and that I think is the essence of these conversations, because at the end of the day, things that can be turned into templates, we want to do that, because and that's the goal of artificial intelligence, right? We don't want to repeat the same task all over again. Like, I use washing machine because I know that I can wash it close to my hand. Things like that we can automate. But things that we cannot automate yet, I think it's always useful to have a way that we can use resources that are limited and able still to understand the needs of the citizens whose livelihood will be affected by whatever we do in terms of smart governance, leverage, and technology usage. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this explanation. Okay, any... Okay.
Next one ก็ของพี่สกิปไปเลยเมื่อไหร่ให้เป็นดร. Harin ต่อเลยดีกว่า
Okay.
ครับอาจจะ before we go exploring, Dr. Harin want to share us a few example of the smart cities and structure of how we are doing it in Thailand. Okay ครับ go ahead ครับอาจารย์
Including the climate change topic.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Harin. You helped me a lot. Because the wording that you use, I'm going to repeat on my presentation. All those words is already in like policy and how to putting the right knowledge and foresight knowledge. This is very important from smart city. And then you use the words that is holistic approach. What kind of holistic that we initiate in Thailand? How long I have this term? I think I will take about 15 minutes. And then better to see the case example. How I did in Thailand, in Jakarta, in Qatar, in Bhutan, and how they do smart city and in government sector and in private sector. Very short case study is better. Okay, here let's talk about the living lab. I'm using living lab, local living lab, social living lab, entrepreneur living lab. Actually, living lab is emerged all the call from German. This is the idea driven from, if you see the literature, living lab has born last 60 years from German. It's come from the scientific lab. And then when a group of scientists said, why don't we go to the social and do the social lab? And we call it living lab. In my presentation, we're going to say, we talk about the co-evolution of living lab in smart city. And Helen said, it's not only technological. If you're going to give the answer technological, you have to put the value of social in the living lab. Like today in morning, we talk about the digital transformation, this and that, but we put the value of people in there. We put the benefit. And then we talk about not only the collaborative knowledge, how to create that. Okay, so I can skip a lot of word and PowerPoint according to her presentation. Thank you. Okay. My presentation is maybe the 3 themes. Yes? Yes. Yes. No, next slide. No, not case study. The main one, the smart change co-evolution. This is the conceptual line. After the 18 years, we did the project. 24 projects with number of stakeholder organizations in Thailand and in GIZ, ADB, JICA, IJS, UNFCCC, IPEC. So we put on the 4 themes when going to do the smart city and environment. Helen talk about the ecosystem service. Don't forget this, because city can sustain if only the ecosystem service sustain. Ecological services. So we have, before you do the project, you have to, what is behind the scenes? What is the story behind? If you want to go to the future, like you go to the future, our life is depend on future. You have to know your background. Before you move the city, okay, co-evolve, evolve under what? What evolve? City evolve or social evolve? We talk about the evolve, how many type of evolving? Okay, you have to see what is behind the scene. You have to look at the global scale, country scale, and the city scale. If you evolve in a city in PATHAI, but you not answer to the country evolve, it's not the evolving of the city. You have to see the whole, the wholeness, the holistic. And the second one is, if you know how to set, okay, I'm going to detail how to set the scene, and how, what is behind the scene, and how to set the scene, how you're going to set the city, and then how to set the city movement, and then how you put a foresight. You know, in our evolution foresight, how many future we have in this world? We talk about the co-evolution. Because if I'm talking alone, it's not fun, you know. We have to interact here. How many future we have in this world? How many co-evolution? We have 4 types. One thing, if you want to know future, Jade, what you know? Go to future, my fortune teller. Okay, what is my future? The second type of future co-evolution is prediction. Like you toss a dice, it's sure it's coming. The third type of co-evolution, the third type is foresight, forecast. And the co-evolve is about the foresight. The foresight is mean that you have to set the idea driven. Helen said is the idea knowledge generation. We call the idea how to set the foresight sense of Ali to cope with what. And then the co-creation. If you want to make a city sustainable with under the security of environment, Helen said ecosystem. It's co-evolve. Co-evolve under what? We talk about the co-evolve, we co-evolve under what? We use this word. When you use the word co-evolve, is city co-evolve the system or system co-evolve of the city? You have to know one thing, SES, social ecological society system. It's about the social, it's about the NY, and it's about social effective. So it means SES. It's evolve. You try to develop and make a smart city, but you don't know how the outside your boundary evolve. How are you going to evolve your city? You have to know what is going to evolve, and you're going to evolve your city under what? Dynamic. We call it dynamic and complex. Okay. So we have the blueprint of change. Idea driven. We accept what conceptualized according to Living Lab, German. We have 6 learning modules. We adapt that. We adopt that to our learning module in many projects. I talk this slide for long because on the detail I go fast. So we adopt that the learning module, the co-creation learning module. That 6 module is not fixed. It's iterative, it's dynamic, it's system thinking, it's foresight thinking. Okay, so I will go and epilogue find out the way out. You have to aware. The smart city, the co-evolution is maybe not you think. Even though you have the expert, million of experts, you cannot predict the environment. You cannot predict the evolve. You can predict your city, but you cannot predict the outside world. So, co-evolve and smart city is not silver bullet. It's the make option. You have to make an when you have the co-evolve, we have 4 types of co-evolve. Preferable. Okay, I want like this. Preferable. The second one is desirable. The third one is possible. The fourth one is probable. It's different. It's different. So co-evolve, in what dimension we want? Okay, something we want desirable, something we prefer, and possible and probable. That we call co-evolve. Okay, next please. Before you do the smart city, this PowerPoint, you know that. In the morning, Thailand, we are very happy. Here, the important things. You see Thailand, again, we come again. We are using the biological, and you want to sustainability, but you forget the ecosystem. You see, the morning we come to right track, e-mobility. What is we consume most? Energy, mobility, in this purple color. We consume the resource more than it can secure, because it cannot sustain if the co-evolve under the security of sustainable resource. Like in Ali, we have resource. We call it demand and supply side. I don't go to the detail that. You take the PowerPoint and you go to the website and note all that thing. Okay, in Thailand. So, here, the first one is energy consumption in Thailand. The second one is land use change. The third one is human behavior. This is the city, not state, because of this. Okay, turn up. Here, city is the engine of growth, and at the same time, city is the problem. You want city engine of growth for sustainable society, or you want city to make our resource catastrophe? You choose. 60% city. Why we play on city? Why city? The big question, why city? Why not forest? Why not land use change? Why city? We talk about city a lot. Why city? I'm to solve. Why city? Yes, you know. Why city? We talk about city. Why city? %98 is depend on the city supply and demand. If you see SDG, what is the city sustainable development? On what number? 11. Why 11? I did a project COP. Before that is MDG. We had only 8 dimensions, GSS. And then we moved to SDG. Why city in the middle of the all? If city going to be sustained, you have to make number 1 to 10 sustain first. Yeah. If you not sustain 1 to 10, how city going to sustain? And if you want sustainable city, for make the 12 to 17 more sustained. That's why city in the center. Because city is 80% of the energy and resource consumed of the world. Right? And then city is required to low carbon. Why low carbon? Oh, we talk about low carbon. Why? Because ecological service is have 4 dimensions. We talk about low carbon a lot. System of the city co-evolve under the environment. Environment, we have 4 functions: providing, supporting, regulating, and value. Environment providing energy, force, clothes, water. And the second one is natural resources providing, regulating air. The third one is secure your life. And the fourth one is value, synergetic, culture. And then if you want to do a sustainability, you have to know one word: new urban agenda. This is from German also. We worry about how many types of city we have in the world. 6 types. All we call it is smart city. Okay, next please. We have here. New urban agenda, because it happened last 3 years. Eco city, mean what? City under the ecosystem. You can download my PowerPoint later. I give the detail what the eco-city mean. Low carbon city, green city, smart city. Here the smart city, why we praying about the smart city? Because smart city is cover a lot of theme. A lot of theme, you see? And then we have new urbanism. We have bio-urbanism, we have organic urbanism, and we have bipolar city. A lot of time, but we all call it smart city. Okay, next please. Here, Ellen said you have to do the cutting issue, remember? You want in your PowerPoint, you have to talk about the cutting issue, cutting theme. When you do city is broad, you have to conceptualize its cutting theme. What are you going to do in Ali? For example, we have SDG here. We have settlement habitat. And we have the implement urban agenda. We have, please look at this 5P. If you do something, first, planet have to secure environment. Then people, then partnership, then prosperity, economic, then peace. We call 5P. It starts from 5. So smart city have to cover with 5P. Here the 5P. Prosperity, people, planet, and cooperation. This is a cost-cutting issue. Okay, next please. Here, I put it all. If you want to master smart city, like Ali, setting the sense, what is the global need, what country need, what specific city needs, self-sufficiency, this is what outcome you want, and what is the call for our global agenda. Then you scope down to your direction of strategy, of smart city. Okay, next. Here, Ali. We are in the phase of co-evolve. We're talking about right? We're now in the fourth phase of the co-evolve. And the co-evolve of this, if you see the whole this, we're talking about in our group, we have a discussion a lot. Okay, next please. Then we talk about what we are going to do, green code, smart city. Here, you see, green code, inclusive code, internal code, all the theme. Next, please. I put it all in one PowerPoint. All that previous, I put it all in one PowerPoint. Then, next, please. Here. This is a conceptual model. It's not no need to follow this, but we try this on many organizations, many projects, many research, many development. Here, the thing that you want in future. Whatever you want. Low carbon, this and that. Here, present state. Present state and the future, there is a gap. What is the gap? Like I told you before, right? 4 types of co-evolve future. Desirable, preferable, possible, probable. Like we talked in the session, morning session. And then problem to be closed, and you have to option. Why I write each option, not solid solution? No, there is no solid solution. It's dynamic. You have to prepare from your co-evolve 4 types of future. And then the pathway, how to go. What is the mechanism? What is the tool? What is success factor? What is the indicator? You're talking about the indicator. What is the successful? What is the tool that appropriate? Then you put it there. Okay, next please. Here, don't forget, if you do, you try to get, this is the solution you want. Suppose this is a city. This is the possible approach. It's no need to follow, 5 minutes left. Not, okay. Including. This is the possible approach. And this is the toolbox solution. It's not fixed, it's changed. It depends on your idea. Okay, this is the long term. Don't forget to put the hard and soft idea. Like we have technology, we have hard And with dealing people, you have to integrate soft also. Please, next. Okay, the last one, foresight for RE. Next. Next. Here. We talk through our group. I divide it in 6 types of the RD module. It may be changed. This is we talking in our group. Yeah. RD 60 module. That we try to discuss this and that, right? Yeah. The module, the learning module. Next, please. How you're going to move there? What the word that RD going to give to the world? The next one is most important. Next. Here. I indicate all slides into the learning module living lab. Here, that we apply. In 6 learning module, we call living lab, foresight, co-evolution. Next, please. Number 1 is, what agenda you want? What type of agenda? Low carbon, sustainable living, livelihood, well-being, blah, 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 SDG. What agenda you want? Put it. There's no need to sequencing like this, illustrative. You can start in anywhere, in any box. Then, what is the scope? What is specific, preferable foresight you want? And then you come to stakeholder. Beware of stakeholder. In some project, there are a lot of stakeholder, but not diverse. Because governance, smart city is about diverse. The stakeholder have to be aware. Yeah? Helen talking about the enabling. You have to integrate the stakeholder, that enabler who make this project, who make this strategy happen, and who get the benefit, enabling. It not mean that your project have a lot, key stakeholder a lot, but only enabler, not enabling. And not diverse group, only top down, not bottom up. Because it's the governance. Okay? And then evaluation module, a lot of tool. I will talk next slide. And then, no. Here, you talk about the knowledge, Helen. Knowledge generation, when you have knowledge, smart city, you know. Geographical. Relevant knowledge. And value. Not only not building, not alternative energy, but not create, not value. Knowledge have to fulfill hard and soft. And then relevant knowledge, not high-end knowledge, and people cannot adapt, cannot accept, cannot applicate. It's too, like you put a very high-end, but people cannot, what they call, not cooperate with you. And then understand the whole message. Okay, list the evaluation module. Next, please. The future we want. Okay, next. Here, this we consider from IGES, IPCC, GTZ, whatever, in Thailand, the whole thing. You put here you want, and this is the future city, and I just dropply put the future of RD. I just put the name. It may be changed. This is our idea, not my idea. Our idea, we may have a discussion in our group. I put here. So if it's wrong, it's our fault. If it's right, it's our right. This is what they're taking from our tape recording this and this last 2 months, about the 2 months, okay? Final epilogue, you have to be there. 1 minute left. When you're talking about the climate change partner, don't forget the social ecological system, the outside your city. Socio-economic is okay, but ecological, 4 themes of ecological services, providing, supporting, regulating, and culture. In Ali, we have very full. I live in Ali, we have very perfect. Providing, ecosystem, providing you what? Water, waste, and that. Supporting you what? You know, the city comes from the metaphor from the German people. Again, the first book, Rachel Carson, who wrote the book, Silent Spring. Right? The mother womb. Our city, our world is like the mother womb, มดลูกแม่ The city society co-evolve is like the mother womb inside. You have to sustain. Okay? And the second one is steep. SES, social economy. Steep is what? Don't forget steep. 1 minute. Social need what? What is social dimension evolve? What is social going to evolve in next 20 years? Technological movement. The first E is environment. The second E is economic. The last one is governance. You have to find out. And then security, livelihood. Don't forget about the value and function. When we're talking about the corporate, we're talking about the management, we used to talk about the function line, but we never talk about the value of the organization. Value comes first. Like you buy a Benz, you buy a food, not only food function, but you need value from food. Also, organization need value of people. And the third one is window opportunity. Beware. If you go too far, you cannot reach it. If you do it easy, ad hoc strategy. We not call strategy, we call it technique. And then choice of action is depend on time. And no need to do all the things at the same time. Maybe one action impact as a leverage point for the governance and partner change. Next, please. Yeah. The story that we're taking about the Ali. Next, please. Yeah. The science that we try, cybernetic model, system thinking, causal loop diagram, canvas model, is not only one tool, it's million of tools to integrate that. I think the last one. Drive of change. This is, I collect from Ali and in Thailand. No need to go and find another data. This is from Thailand. Okay? This is from the context of Ali that there is no one size fits all, and try to find out a set of partner initiative. Find out. Put in the box, learning module. Here. Co-partner possible in Thailand that we have the group discussion. Next, please, the final one. Happy life. The case example you can download from my website. The learning module, although social module, have I used in Thailand, in COP, how I use in Bhutan, how I use in Bangkok, how I use in Nonthaburi, very detailed on that. In Bhutan, very fun. I went there to make a sustainable hydropower. How climate change, because Bhutan is natural carbon country, right? The economy is driven by tourists and selling the electric power. On top is China. The down Bhutan is India, packed with half people of the world. The Bhutan project is very fun. An ASEAN project, 11 countries have applied this. You go to the website ASEAN ESC Halin/Halin. Be your learning module. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harin, for sharing. It seems like our time is really too short. There's a lot of information and experience that we need to exchange each other between the department, between Thailand, Bangkok, and Berlin as well. So maybe we hope we need some more time. So right now we have Mr. Apache calling from Berlin. He's gonna have some speech with us. But
what do we do here?
you can use mine.
This one as a window.
Who's the host? Any state? Thank you.
Recording in progress.
สวัสดีครับพี่ต่อ
ฮัลโหลค่ะพี่ต่อได้ยินไหมคะ
เดี๋ยวนี้เขาต้องได้ยินจากไหนอ่ะ
พี่ต่อพูดนิดนึงค่ะไม่ได้ยิน
ได้ยินครับ สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับพี่ต่อครับ
ครับได้ยินนะครับ
ได้ยินแล้วครับ
So thank you very much. I've been following the meeting since this morning in Berlin, and I had the short note from Helen, and I really appreciate what Helen just mentioned, that we really put in great effort and input for the excellent meeting today. And I also give her a short answer on what we are doing, is that it's like this what we discussed 2 years ago, that overcoming challenges and hurdles in front of us, driven by all walks of life, are the key of sustainable development or smart change in Thai society. And having Berlin and Germany as partners will help each of us and every one of us to utilize sufficient resources, not too little or too much to it, and bringing back balance to everyone's life and to our society. The cooperation will help us not only surviving the crisis, but also turning into the happy society. So the end of the short message that I put in to Kun Heren is that let's make it happen, the smart change in our society. So before I go further, I would like to have a short impression from Kun Helen, that you maybe share with us what you have received from the morning, and after that I will put into my presentation. So please.
This one is better.
Yeah.
Hi, okay. I hope everyone can hear me. If I understood correctly, I'm glad to give a short feedback on what I heard in the morning. I really enjoyed the pitch sessions from the morning today. I've had a lot of interesting input regarding mobility solutions, as well as healthcare, and also the efforts regarding digital transformation, also supported by the national level and some corporates. What I would really consider here as part of ongoing collaboration is that we try to emphasize the matchmaking with Berlin organizations and companies that would fit to the Bangkok organization's interests that were presented here. And what I really liked is that you are apparently also already know each other and have this kind of network building going on. And this is something that we from Berlin side are very interested in order to learn also to have these ecosystem networks, as I said, ecosystem also in the sense of organizations that connect and that are actually functioning as an organism. Yeah, this is actually where it's coming from, to enable us all to profit from the business ideas and societal ideas together. And this is something that my impression is that it's something possible to support. In Berlin, the intersectoral ideas to talk about urban planning and some startups from the mobility section, for instance, together, that this is considered as a holistic approach. This is already defined. So this is already in place. And what is maybe profitable for both our side is that we share our practices regarding ecosystems. So how can we support and identify those networks and find a mutual ground for exchange? And yeah, so this is something that I learned from Mr. Albaitib. You already know that regarding smart change, we have established 3 main topics that we would like to focus on with Bangkok. And the first one is sustainable urban planning with a strong connection to mobility innovation. And this is something that I saw fit to the presentations in the morning, also the urban planning side. And the second one is the digitalization of public services. So having transformations in place that are really necessary. Not to digitalize everything from the beginning, just because it's possible, but to make it as inclusive as possible. And sometimes digital solutions are not at all inclusive, because people are not literate enough, or they do not have the access or the resources, the financial resources to do that. So we also have a social aspect here that we would like to talk about. And the last one was, or will be from our side, or what I can see fit, is actually the community building that you are doing, the collaboration approach. How can this be sustained? That this is not only always project-based, but there is an establishment of structures, of an institutionalization of collaboration that helps to come up with always new ideas. And yeah, I mean, as I could see from the inputs from the morning, good ideas, like also from in the mobility sector, can only thrive if you have a good ecosystem here. So I think there's already a lot in place. And I think this is a good point of start if you are interested in exploring more the Berlin side as well. So I hope this was enough. Mr. Albaitib, he asked me to resume on the morning sessions and my impression. So I hope that this is something that, yeah, he can work with.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you so much. พี่ต่อคะ
Yeah, so shall I start?
Yeah, you can
Thank
go
you very
ahead.
much, Helen. Really great, brief explanations about what you have been with us since this morning. And I would start with my presentation. I would try to make it very short so that all of us, including Kun Nisai and Kun Tuspat, who's already with us online, can also share their views on this journey. So please put on my presentation, and I will start. So what we are doing now is the process of development which involve every walks of life, and like we has been discussed many times, that the success of the project would be the quality of life of each and everyone, which can be select or can be choose by themselves, not just only what on the wheels that we're having right now. So may Kun Nuli put on my presentation. All right. Okay. All right. So, yeah, the first slide is to really see us through together that what we are doing is consider co-evolution, and it's just, with the parties that it's really a must to have, and great to have you all here. And the next slide, please. So to understand, like Kun Tet mentioned earlier this afternoon during his session, that why we are here. Please go to the next slides, please.
One moment, please. There's like difficulties about this.
Yeah, not this one. Okay.
Okay, give me a second.
All right. So to understand the first picture that Kun Nulis put in before us is the people on the mirrors, which help us see ourselves very clearly, what we are already are, also what we lack of, or what in our dressing is not right. And reflection is what we see from German colleagues and friends, that what we are doing might not be suitable for Thailand or in Thai context. So we try to understand. So we're back to the histories of PATHAI districts, and we found that the people get to move in 1937. That's just only 5 years after Lama VII avoided bloodshed, giving his power to an individual group of people. Then after that, the loss in translation for more than 70 years, that the area has been developed without directions. So that the peoples not really get used to the mechanisms in democracy and liberal atmosphere. So in 2008, we are in Berlin, and we try to see what we are missing from our friend in Berlin. So that's what I told you before, that we found that the common community or the common factors of the development, and then I'm back to Bangkok and start the journey of the community building processes. And so, put in short, Kun Tet and our group of people from many agencies has come together and put into the PATHAI social enterprises, so which now we are evolving so drastically in many programs and activities. We made smart city and clean energy project with ministries of energy. We made the community researches, and we made the fairground, which involving the people in the district to feel that how important they are in the journey of development for themselves in the futures, and make the development to be real to them, and to make them see that what's going to be is up to us, to them, that we're going to move on. So we move to the next slide. The next slide would be the milestone or roadmap of what we are doing now. is to develop a quick win workshop seminar to really understanding what we are now and what we are going in the futures and going toward the next milestone, which would be building the foundation for the smart change or co-evolution step by step to the wheel of changes. And after we got the foundation really done, we go into the application phase, which going to really have to go with the people. So the next slide, please. So now in the next slide, we can see that how governance milestone has been since 2008. Next slide, please. Yeah, all right. So in 2008, we found the concept of togetherness and governance that we need everyone on board. And after that, how it's going to be done, it is what it has to be started somewhere. So it's just start in the neighborhood and it is accumulately expand into the border communities and come into PATHAI 4.0. And that's very much on right now the formulation of different expertise in order to get into the open platform which you're seeing now, that the governance platform is the platform that open for everyone, which focuses in 100,000 people to be part of, and the platform would be used in public services and also private services, so that we can get all the people, 100,000 people, to be in this platform and continue with the journey of governance roadmap, which is going toward to understand what the peoples want and also the readiness of the people and our stakeholders in this. So in the due time that we have right now, so I would asking Kun Nuli, Kun Jet to put the very first comment from our member of parliament, who also take off her hat and be together with us by sharing her clip, the video clip, and so please share what her will be on this journey. Thank you very much. And after that, I would like to invite Dr. Supat and Dr. Nisai to be with us. Thank you.
The next one will be the clip from our representative from the parliament. She is represent our location, Kun Pada, which is a pretty strong partner with us as well. Go ahead.
โดยเฉพาะเรื่องฝุ่น PM 2.5 วันกล้าพูดว่าสวัสดีค่ะภาดาวรการนนท์สมาชิกสภาผู้แทนราษฎรจากจังหวัดกรุงเทพมหานครเขตพญาไทราชเทวีและจตุจักรค่ะก่อนอื่นวันนี้ต้องขอบคุณกลุ่มพาไทยและที่ได้กรุณามารับฟังและแลกเปลี่ยนความรู้และประสบการณ์เพื่อให้เขตพญาไทสามารถพัฒนาเป็นเมืองต้นแบบและสามารถนำไปใช้ในการพัฒนาให้กับเขตอื่น กันเป็นพลังในการขับเคลื่อนในการบูรณาการในหลายๆภาคส่วนเพื่อที่จะมุ่งไปสู่การเปลี่ยนแปลงให้กับชุมชนย่านอารีเขตพญาไทให้ทุกคนได้มีคุณภาพชีวิตที่ดีขึ้นและต้องขอบคุณผู้แทนจากกรุงเบอร์ลินนะคะที่ได้กรุณามารับฟังและแลกเปลี่ยนความรู้และประสบการณ์เพื่อให้เขตพญาไทสามารถพัฒนาเป็นเมืองต้นแบบและสามารถนำไปใช้เขตพญาไทสามารถพัฒนาเป็นเมืองต้นแบบและสามารถนำไปใช้ในการพัฒนาให้กับเขตอื่นๆในกรุงเทพมหานครต่อไปสำหรับวันนี้วันจะขอพูดในฐานะผู้แทนประชาชนเขตพญาไทที่ได้สัมผัสปัญหาผ่านการลงพื้นที่เยี่ยมเยียนและพูดคุยกับประชาชนตลอดระยะเวลากว่า3 ปีที่ผ่านมานอกจากงานในสภาและงานกรรมาธิการต่างๆแล้ววันก็จะลงพื้นที่เกือบทุกวันไปพูดคุยและรับฟังปัญหาต่างๆจากพี่น้องประชาชนและหาทางแก้ไขปัญหาต่างๆเหล่านั้นโดยใช้กลไกต่างๆไม่ว่าจะเป็นกลไกในสภาผ่านการหารือผ่านท่านประธานสภาการตั้งกระทู้การเสนอญัตติหรือการใช้เวทีกรรมาธิการนอกจากปัญหาความเดือดร้อนของพี่น้องประชาชนยังมีอีกหลายๆปัญหาใหญ่ๆที่เป็นปัญหาระดับประเทศที่วันให้ความสำคัญและต่อสู้มาโดยตลอดเช่นปัญหาเรื่องสิ่งแวดล้อมโดยเฉพาะเรื่องฝุ่น PM 2.5 วันกล้าพูดว่าวันเป็นคนแรกที่ต่อสู้ทั้งในสภาและนอกสภาให้เกิดการผลักดันเรื่องการใช้รถพลังงานไฟฟ้าทุกประเภทจนประสบความสำเร็จในที่สุดโดยรัฐบาลได้เห็นความสำคัญและอนุมัติเงินนะคะในการที่สนับสนุนและช่วยเหลือให้ทั้งผู้บริโภคและผู้ประกอบการในอุตสาหกรรมรถยนต์พลังงานไฟฟ้าและจักรยานยนต์พลังงานไฟฟ้านอกจากนี้วันยังเป็นคนที่ยื่นญัตติเสนอให้รัฐบาลพิจารณาให้มีพรบอากาศสะอาดเพื่อประชาชนซึ่งขณะนี้อยู่ระหว่างการรอพิจารณาลงนามอนุมัติจากท่านนายกรัฐมนตรีและบรรจุเข้าสู่วาระในสภาต่อไปค่ะสำหรับวันนี้เราจะมาพูดคุยกันเฉพาะเรื่องของพื้นที่เขตพญาไทในเรื่องของยุทธศาสตร์นโยบายและแผนที่จะนำไปสู่การแก้ไขปัญหาอย่างยั่งยืนโดยอาศัยความร่วมมือของทุกฝ่ายโดยวันจะขอพูดในเรื่องสภาพโดยรวมและปัญหาของพื้นที่ในเขตพญาไทนะคะเขตพญาไทเป็น1 ใน 50 เขตของกรุงเทพมหานครมีพื้นที่ 9.5 ตารางกิโลเมตรมีประชากรประมาณ 66,000 คนค่ะพญาไทจัดอยู่ในโซนกรุงเทพชั้นในสภาพพื้นที่โดยทั่วไปเป็นแหล่งที่อยู่อาศัยหนาแน่นและเป็นแหล่งศูนย์การค้าและการบริการและด้วยเหตุนี้เองค่ะจึงเป็นแหล่งที่ผู้คนเห็นโอกาสและมุ่งแสวงหาอยากจะย้ายมาทำงานมาอยู่อาศัยที่นี่และทำธุรกิจกันเป็นอย่างมากทำให้หลีกเลี่ยงไม่ได้ในเรื่องของการขยายของเมืองและการพัฒนาเมืองค่ะแต่ก็ต้องยอมรับว่าที่ผ่านมาการขยายเมืองเป็นไปในแบบที่ไม่มีทิศทางและไม่มีแผนรองรับจากเดิมพื้นที่โซนนี้เป็นเพียงแหล่งที่อยู่อาศัยประชากรอาศัยเป็นลักษณะบ้านเดี่ยวแต่ปัจจุบันได้เปลี่ยนเป็นแหล่งธุรกิจไปแล้วทำให้หลีกเลี่ยงไม่ได้ที่บ้านเดี่ยวเหล่านั้นจะเปลี่ยนไปเป็นโครงการที่อยู่อาศัยแบบคอนโดมิเนียมมากมายจนวันนี้พญาไทได้กลายเป็น1ในพื้นที่ที่เต็มไปด้วยอาคารสูงและคอนโดหนาแน่นไปหมดและปัญหาที่เกิดผลกระทบตามมาก็คือโครงสร้างพื้นฐานที่ไม่ได้เตรียมเอาไว้รองรับการขยายตัวของคนจำนวนมากอย่างรวดเร็วสิ่งหนึ่งที่เราเห็นเสมอคือรถติดค่ะเพราะไม่มีการจัดการเรื่องโซนนิ่งหรือระบบขนส่งสาธารณะที่ควรจะเชื่อมโยงทั้งถนนสายหลักถนนสายรองและถนนซอยให้เกิดประสิทธิภาพฟุตบาททางเท้าก็ไม่เอื้อกับการเดินเท้าไม่นับรวมกับอากาศร้อนที่สะสมและมลพิษไอเสียจากรถยนต์นะคะนอกจากนี้ยังมีปัญหาเรื่องน้ำท่วมขังเนื่องจากการที่ไม่ได้มีการขยายท่อระบายน้ำเพื่อรองรับจำนวนประชากรที่เพิ่มขึ้นอย่างรวดเร็วและแน่นอนตามมาด้วยขยะล้นและยังมีปัญหาอื่นๆในเรื่องสิทธิเสรีภาพอย่างเช่นความเป็นส่วนตัวที่บ้านเรือนถูกบดบังจากแสงแดดและการถ่ายเทของอากาศทิศทางลมที่เปลี่ยนไปเนื่องจากการเกิดอาคารสูงเพิ่มขึ้นเป็นจำนวนมากซึ่งสิ่งเหล่านี้วันเชื่อว่ามันเป็นความทุกข์ของคนพญาไทค่ะลำพังตัววันเองที่เป็นผู้แทนเขตพญาไทไม่สามารถจะจัดการสิ่งนี้เพียงคนเดียวได้แน่นอนพวกเราทุกคนต้องร่วมมือร่วมใจและช่วยกันค่ะและวันนี้ถือเป็นโอกาสที่ดีมากๆค่ะที่มีตัวแทนในหลายๆกลุ่มที่วันเชื่อว่า ทุกคนในที่นี้มีความรักในพื้นที่และมีความตั้งใจอย่างแรงกล้าที่อยากจะร่วมมือกันผลักดันให้เกิดการเปลี่ยนแปลงในพื้นที่พญาไทอย่างยั่งยืนโดยพวกเราอยากจะเริ่มที่ย่านอารีก่อนนะคะและเมื่อสามารถทำได้สำเร็จเป็นรูปธรรมแล้วเรามั่นใจว่าจะสามารถใช้เป็นโมเดลในการพัฒนาเขตอื่นๆในกรุงเทพมหานครต่อไปและสุดท้ายนี้วันขอขอบคุณทุกท่านสำหรับความตั้งใจดีและพลังที่ร่วมกันสร้างสิ่งดีๆให้กับสังคมและชุมชนของพวกเราค่ะและคาดหวังเหลือเกินคาดหวังอย่างยิ่งว่าผู้แทนจากกรุงเบอร์ลินจะเห็นถึงความตั้งใจนี้และเข้าใจปัญหาของพวกเราและพร้อมที่จะนำความรู้และประสบการณ์ต่างๆที่ท่านมีมาร่วมเป็นส่วนหนึ่งในการพัฒนาชุมชนและคุณภาพชีวิตของคนที่นี่ให้ดีขึ้นค่ะวันเชื่อจริงๆค่ะว่าพวกเราตรงนี้ทุกคนเป็นผู้ที่มีความรู้มีความสามารถและมีความเก่งในหลายๆด้านมารวมตัวกันและถ้าเราได้พลังขับเคลื่อนในการช่วยเหลือจากทีมของกรุงเบอร์ลินที่มีประสบการณ์มามากมายกว่าพวกเรานะคะวันเชื่อว่าพวกเราจะสามารถทำสำเร็จและสามารถที่จะเป็นต้นแบบอย่างที่เราคาดหวังเอาไว้ได้จริงๆค่ะตัวเองก็จะอยู่ตรงนี้และพร้อมที่จะทำงานร่วมกับทุกๆท่านในทุกๆมิติค่ะสำหรับวันนี้ก็ขอจบเพียงเท่านี้นะคะขอบคุณทุกท่านและสวัสดีค่ะ
โอเคครับขอบคุณมากครับขอบคุณพี่ต่อที่อุตส่าห์ทำให้น้องวันได้มาแชร์กับเรานะฮะก็เดี๋ยวเหลืออีก2ท่านครับมีดร.นิสัยกับดร.สุพัฒน์นะครับอาจจะรบกวนแนะนำตัวสั้นๆแล้วก็อาจจะแชร์อะไรต่อนิดหน่อยนะครับขอเชิญดร.นิสัยก่อนแล้วกันครับขอบคุณครับเชิญครับโกเฮดครับผมใช่ไหมครับใช่ครับใช่ครับถูกต้องครับ
ครับเชิญพี่นิสัยเลยครับ Alright actually I don't have not so many comments for today because I was invited just for the first time but I would like to express my gratitude and my willingness to support contribute to these projects any kind of support that I can give to this project I would be very delighted to do that but most of all I am very impressed to see that we try to convert the Thai values adopted from the King Rama IX philosophy and also the Buddhist values into the reality. And so as Punappai Chief has discussed this with me before, I would be very pleased to see this happen. Yeah. So then thank you very much for creating this project and I would like to contribute in the future. But today I just come as a first time observer, so don't have much comment, but very pleased to see that this kind of project is progressing. Thank you very much.
ขอบคุณดร.นิสัยค่ะขอเชิญดร.สุพัฒน์ค่ะพี่ช่วยดร.สุพัฒน์ค่ะขอบคุณดร.นิสัยค่ะplease welcome Dr. Supatha. Are you still on? Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be invited to this meeting. And first of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Supat Wangwong Watana. And I have actually worked in the area for more than 30 years. When I was with the pollution control department. But nowadays, I did not go to that area quite often. Because right now I'm working with the Faculty of Public Health from University, which is in the Ransit area, north of Bangkok. But I have a lot of experience in the area with the Department of Pollution Control. For the last 5 years that I worked there, I was actually Director General of the department, working in order to clean up all the pollution problems, not only air pollution but also not only in the area of the for the whole country. And so far, with the work that I have done at the Pollution Control Department, we for the whole country. The project name is Clean Air for Smaller Cities, and in that particular project, we were invited to visit and talk to the people Clean Air for Smaller Cities. And I'm very pleased to see the starting of this project in other PATHAI district and into a smart city. And I think this also will PATHAI district itself, trying to develop the district into a clean area with there is a lot of good opportunity to do that in the PATHAI district, in particular in the RE area, which actually there are a lot of government office around RE area. The public relations department where I think you are, the pollution control department, government office around, and Department of Environmental Quality Promotion, and so on. Many government agencies. I believe that with the cooperation from this government agency, I think we'll be able to support the project quite well. So let's look forward to it.
Dr.สุพัฒน์ยังอยู่ไหมคะ
ขอบคุณท่านสุภัทรครับ
โอเคครับก็อาจจะมี difficulties ในเรื่องของเทคนิคนิดหน่อยนะฮะก็พี่ต่อมีอะไรจะเพิ่มเติมไหมฮะเรียบร้อยพี่ปิดให้ละโอเคก็ฮัลโหลครับพี่ต่อยังอยู่ไหมฮะฮัลโหลพี่ต่อพูดถึงใครคุณเฮเลนเหรอ
พี่ต่อพูดถึงดร.สุพัฒน์เมื่อสักครู่ใช่ไหมคะพอดีว่าทางฝั่งของดร.สุพัฒน์น่าจะเปิดไลฟ์กับตัวซูมพร้อมๆกันนะคะสัญญาณเลยแทรกกันไม่แน่ใจถูกต้องไหมคะตอนนี้ดร.สุพัฒน์มิวไมค์อยู่ค่ะหนูรบกวนอันมิวค่ะ
Yes. I think that's the problem because I have Facebook Live.
โอเคค่ะได้
Earlier I wasn't able to follow the presentation appreciate or I have to go on to the Facebook Live to look at the slide. So now I will turn it off.
Would you mind to turn off the Facebook Live first? Because the signal is quite it's interrupted each other.
Here it is better. Okay. Sorry for that.
It's all right. Sorry.
Don't mention it. Yeah, thank you very much for the insights and So I want to turn the floor to PJ and Nuli so that you can start the open sessions for the discussions for everyone. So please do so. Thank you very much.
โอเคครับขอบคุณครับทั้ง3ท่านนะครับจากทางเบอร์ลินนะครับจากทางเบอร์ลินท่านหนึ่งแล้วก็เมืองไทย2ท่านนะครับ Thank you very much for the participation. A little bit hassle of technology, but I think we all go through that better next time. What do we do next is to maybe just sit down and discuss internally among us on how do we work in the future with them actually. Nong Earth actually tell me that I think we need to really pin down a bullet point that what we really need from them, the help if it's possible. I think you already present this morning, and maybe now we come face to face and see if we can do what we can do for the next step, I guess. โอเคครับขอบคุณเรียนเชิญทุกท่านเลยนะครับนั่งคุยกันแล้วก็ exchange แล้วก็อาจจะแชร์ประสบการณ์หลังจากที่ observe แล้วก็ได้เห็นข้อมูลต่างๆที่อาจจะ refresh ให้พวกพี่ๆได้ด้วยเพราะว่าเราเองก็ทำมาเนิ่นนานข้อมูลเรื่องสังคมบางทีอาจจะเปลี่ยนแปลงไปเรื่อยๆนะครับเรียนเชิญนะครับเลยออกไปอ้วกแล้วขอบคุณเยอะมากเดี๋ยวเรายังไงดีก็ที่โต๊ะเลยไหม
ได้ค่ะแล้วก็จริงๆเรามีแค่15 นาทีจาก50โอเคค่ะก็เดี๋ยวรถมารอแล้วค่ะในที่นี้พูดภาษาไทยแล้วกันเดี๋ยวมีท่านไหนไปกับเราบ้างนะคะที่ไปทัวร์อารีหรือว่าทุกท่านเลยค่ะไปไม่ได้ไปนะคะคุณไปด้วยนะคะต้องไปกันแล้วคุณโรตี้ไปด้วยนะคะโอเคเป็น3น่าจะพอดีค่ะไปด้วยกันไหมคะ
ไปที่ร้านเฮาส์ของตัวเอง
ก็เดี๋ยวนั่งมุกนี้ไปด้วยกันเชิญ
เราไปกองทางนู้นไหม
ได้ดีค่ะเห็นด้วยค่ะอย่าหนูมุกไปตรงนี้
ส่งมอบหนังสือwe do the gift thing and then we all taking photos and then go back to the discussion.
To be like a crossing ceremony.
Just to closing the Facebook Live.
Please welcome Peter and Helen on.
โอเคครับas a representative of PATHAI Group and all other parties for today, we really appreciate your effort to come here from far away. But I hope this is worthwhile for you and help us. Your information also, and information from everyone is very worthwhile to us, and I think it's very fulfilling for the future of our developments and for our cities and maybe other cities, yeah, if you will. And to be our token of appreciation, I have sponsored one of the 2 books. One is the Thai wooden architecture house and some of the Myanmar zone housing ideas, but all in Thai. It will be quite a long time for you to digest.
I have a colleague who can speak Thai. So,
Okay, colleagues. Okay, good. Okay, all right. So we do some photo like that. Okay. Okay. ขอบคุณครับ And maybe invite every one of us on the stage to do the regular protocol for the photo moment.
Yeah. So this is an official closing ceremony for the Facebook Live.